The prosecution says Michael Jackson is a pedophile and the defense says he's a victim, but both sides will have one last shot today to convince the jury as they finish up their closing arguments.
But the end of the trial seems to be taking its toll on Michael Jackson. He made another trip to the hospital overnight. MSNBC's Lisa Daniels is outside the courthouse in Santa Maria, California this morning with the very latest. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there. Good morning to both of you. That's right. Michael Jackson did go to the hospital, apparently for exhaustion. He was released late last night, but I have to tell you, Chris and Amy, it does not surprise me. Just looking at him, he did not look well. He looked weak. He looked shaky. And normally throughout the day, he leans over and talks to his defense attorney, Tom Mesereau. Yesterday, he just looked zoned out. He didn't talk to Mesereau. He really didn't talk to anybody. He was just staring right into space, not giving any emotion. Here to talk more about it is Jane Velez-Mitchell, correspondent for Celebrity Justice. Jane, do you agree with me that Michael Jackson did not look well?
No, he didn't, and he has gotten thinner and thinner over the course of this trial. If you even look back at some of the videotapes that were played during this trial from a couple of years ago, he's got to be 20, maybe even more pounds heavier. He is gaunt, he is ashen, and he looks like a ghost.
And I got to tell you, when you look at it from a TV perspective, when you're a viewer at home, it's hard to tell because he's a bizarre guy. But being right there, up close, he looks so thin, so pale. Jane, as you said, you've been covering the trial. Tell me how his condition has worsened.
Well, this is a person who obviously has gone to the hospital several times now, and I've followed him various times. He creates a lot of chaos wherever he goes. When he went to the hospital nearby here at one point, he created such a scene. A patient had to be moved. That patient later died. There could be legal action stemming from that. This is more drama, and he generally chooses very significant days in the trial to become ill. I'm not questioning the fact that he's ill. He may be ill because of the stress of those significant days, but one of the last days he became ill was when the accuser took the stand, and that's the day he infamously showed up in his pajamas. So there he is in his pajamas, having just been released from the hospital, and the boy has to take the stand and testify against him. Added pressure for that young accuser, and now we are here at the very end of the trial. The jury is about to get this case, and he is once again ill, so the timing is questionable.
Well, it's a good point about the timing, but being up close, he did look very ill and just seemed out of it. That's the word I can only think of, out of it. Let's talk about closing arguments, because this is really it. The defense will finish up its closing arguments, then the prosecution will finish up theirs. What must Tom Mesereau get across today?
Well, he's been hammering home this theme, and it's almost like shades of Johnny Cochran's, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. If there is reasonable doubt about this family, you must acquit. That has been his theme. I think he will continue to hammer that home over and over again, calling this family, accusing Michael Jackson, not just the mother, but all the kids, grifters, actors, liars, con artists, hammering home that this mother, he believes and he claims, taught the children how to lie. And if you believe that, you have to acquit Michael Jackson.
It's interesting, Jane, because the two attorneys have very different styles. Ron Zonin, who was doing the prosecution's closing argument for Tom Sneddon, he is more of a professor. He's got his glasses in one hand, and he's really going through very methodically, very thoroughly, the timeline, trying to correlate acts with the timing. Mesereau, on the other hand, he's a huge guy. He's 6'5". He's got a little bit more charisma than Zonin. What do you think Zonin has to do in this final stretch to convince jurors, hey, we've got the burden and we met it?
He's got to erase the doubts about this family and bring it back to Michael Jackson's behavior. If he's acting like a pedophile, he has a history of people charging him with being a pedophile, then he is a pedophile, and it is your responsibility as jurors to put him away and make sure he can't do this to another boy.
Jane Velez-Mitchell, correspondent for Celebrity Justice. Jane, thanks for all the perspective. We appreciate it. So, Chris and Amy, the crowds are gathered very early this morning at 6:15 Pacific time. The crowds are the biggest I have seen so far. And today is the day that by the end of today, the jury will have the case in its hands.